lot longer than I thought. That's what she said. Maybe I can get some of this on video so you can see the shrinkage. That's what she said. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a quick modification to the 2004 H1 Hummer. Now in one of the last videos you saw that I installed the dual PMD battery tie-down heatsink from Mod Mafia. Oops, got a little bit of grease on there. Oh, perfect. And it's been working out great. And the second PMD is wide open, as you can see there. I do have a resistor in there pre-installed, which you want to do, so you don't have to worry about that if you ever need to plug it in, but it's an open connector. So what I did was order a spare PMD extension harness, and I used that to make myself a little dummy plug to go in there so that there's no water, dirt, dust, or corrosion that gets in there, and that this PMD is ready to go and in good condition whenever I'm ready to use it, if I ever need to use it. So here's what came in the mail. Nice packaging. Let's get it open. Man, that's a lot longer than I thought. That's what she said. There it goes. All right, so that's the entire harness. If you wanted to use it to remotely locate your PMD. That's not what I'll be doing with this. What I'm going to do is just use this pigtail here. And what I'm going to do is cut it back a couple inches, right about here where my finger is, and then leave these wires in there in the weather pack connector so that it's weather tight and water doesn't get in there. And then I'll show you how I'm going to seal up all these wires so that none of them are exposed. Now here's what you're going to need: some wire cutters, some heat shrink, a little piece of heat shrink, and this harness. Now keep in mind, I didn't go buy the baddest, most awesome PMD extension harness out there because I'm not actually going to be using this to extend my PMD. I just went and bought the cheapest one I could on Amazon. I'll put the link below. And all I'm going to be doing is chopping this, heat shrinking it, making sure I don't have any bare ends, and then using this to plug the port on the spare PMD so that no moisture or dirt gets in there, it doesn't get corroded, and it's nice and in good shape for whenever I'm ready to use it. First thing I'm going to do is pull back this loom and get the wires out. There we go. Got a bunch of the wire bare. Now I'm going to cut longer than I need to. I'm not going to leave that much wire on here, so let me see if I can do this with one hand. Did I get it? Oh, no, missed one. Now that's what I'm left with. What I'm gonna do, my heat shrink is a little bigger than the wires I got, no big deal. I'm gonna take these wires, kind of sort of fold them in half, like that, and then place my heat shrink tubing over that section of wire, and I'm gonna make sure these bare ends don't go all the way out. I want them inside that a little bit so that the heat shrink goes past the bare end of the wires and no water gets in there to corrode anything. About there would work. Now I'm going to hold this in place while I slide the heat shrink tubing over the end of the wire. I just left it out a little bit just to show you where it is, and we're going to gently slide it over. Sorry, it's tough with one hand. There we go. All the way to the base of the connector. Now if you see, the end of my wires that loops is right there, and the bare end is right about here. So I've got coverage on both sides. Next thing you're gonna need is a heat gun, blow dryer, or a little torch, or even a lighter, whatever you got handy. I'm just gonna use a little tiny butane torch, set it on low so that I'm not burning anything. Let's see, right about there. Ooh, it's a little high. Set it even lower. There we go, that's enough. And I'm not gonna hold the flame directly on there, just far enough away to where the heat gets on it. Obviously I don't wanna leave it on the carpet and burn my house down. So I'm gonna hold it up hold the flame on it, and watch it shrink. Ha! Found a little box to use as a prop. Maybe I can get some of this on video so you can see the shrinkage. That's what she said. Now it's all shrunken, and while it's hot, I'm just going to take the end of the handle of my wire cutters and squish this piece down to flatten it, because this is marine grade heat shrink and it has a light adhesive coating on the inside, and it'll stay together like that. See? Now water won't get in there. And that's it. Now we'll take this thing over to the Hummer, plug it in, and we should be good to go. You can use the same trick on any 6.5 liter Detroit diesel you've got with a PMD. Pretty much any of the 6.5 diesels, even if it's on industrial equipment. So if you're going to continue running your 6.5 turbo diesel and you've got the PMD remotely mounted, get a spare PMD, mount it close to it on a second heatsink, or mount both on a big heatsink, and make sure to plug a dummy connector into the spare one so that it doesn't get corroded and it's good to use when you're ready to go. The other thing you want to make sure to do is have a resistor pre-installed. I use a number 9 resistor on my PMDs, so I've got a resistor in the one that's operating, and I've got a resistor in the spare one. That way I don't have to mess with pulling the resistor out of the old one and into the new one if I ever need to swap the connector over. And it's much easier to just pull this connector off and plug it in and get going from there. Now that we've got this little dummy plug made, let's get it installed on the truck. You know, another video I might come back and clean up this harness too, the extension harness. I really don't like the way the end of that looks. But here's our dummy plug, and it's going to fit right about there. It's a little bit long. Maybe I should make it shorter. Well, if I get time later, I might cut off this heat shrink, cut off maybe half of the wire that's coming out, and get this to be about half the length that it currently is to make it a little bit cleaner. Oh, I wasn't getting it lined up correctly. There we go. It's in there. The clip is on, and there we go. Is it the prettiest solution in the world? I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, I think I'm gonna trim that back later on, make it half as short. But there you go. That is how you make a dummy plug for a secondary PMD. If you have a secondary PMD mounted on your 6.5 diesel, whether it's on a Hummer H1, a Chevy, GMC, or any sort of farm or industrial equipment that uses these same motors. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it helpful. I love you guys. I will see you next time.